Thank you very much, Mr.
Kamket,
Speaker.
yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, indeed, it is a...
Order, honorable members, this is a great day for Anne Njoroge. Give her the silence so that she can be honored by one of your colleagues who was her colleague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, it is a great honor for me to get the opportunity to pay tribute to my former boss, Ms. Anne Njoroge. Mr. Speaker, I joined Parliament myself as a Hansard reporter in February 1997. And immediately, Mr. Speaker, I was thrown into the deep end of Hansard reporting. But I was lucky, Mr. Speaker, to have had a very dedicated, humble, and determined public officer who trained me, Ms. Anne Njoroge, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Robert Mbui. Order, Robert. If Anne Njoroge was your sister, your mother, or your cousin, or your wife, you would love to give her this day. Go on, Kamket.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Ms. Anne Njoroge is a very dedicated officer, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, that box, Mr. Speaker, the Hansard box, is a box that is very familiar to me. I have sat in that box, Mr. Speaker, for a very long time, under the guidance of that very humble and hardworking public servant. And I'm very proud, Mr. Speaker, to be her product, to be the product of her guidance. And Mr. Speaker, that Hansard box, Mr. Speaker, has also produced not only me, but the Honorable Member for Matungu, the Honorable Peter Oscar Nabulindo, who was equally a Hansard reporter with me under the guidance and leadership of Ms. Anne Njoroge. Mr. Speaker, when I joined Parliament in 1997, this House, there was no Parliamentary Service Commission at that time. I remember, Mr. Speaker, we used to go and line up at Mr. Kiliku, the accountant, for salary, Mr. Speaker. And at that time, Mr. Speaker, not even the members of Parliament had bank accounts. We used to line up at the finance office to receive salary. At that time, Mr. Speaker, we did not like the members of Parliament that much, because we would line up for more than 2 hours, and then about 10 or 15 members of Parliament come and overtake you as we all lined up for salary. But perhaps, Mr. Speaker, what's the most interesting about Hansard, because we are talking about Ms. Wamboi today, is that the Hansard, Mr. Speaker, is supposed to be an accurate report of the spoken word without interfering with the facts and the line of thought of the honorable member. It's a very specialized kind of reporting, Mr. Speaker, and I want to say that in the office that I worked with, in the Department of Hansard, led by Ms. Wamboi and other officers, we were able, and I believe even as at now, we were able, Mr. Speaker, to capture the lines of thoughts of honorable members, organize their thoughts without losing the facts and realities of what they want to present. And the next day, Mr. Speaker, whenever a member wanted to have or wanted to go through what they contributed to in the House, they would be mesmerized at how well they spoke, at how well thought out their ideas were, only because, Mr. Speaker, the Hansard officers put in many hours of work to make everything right. So, Mr. Speaker, as my colleague, my former boss, Ms. Njoroge, retires, I want to wish her the very best in her life. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that box there, the Hansard box, is a great box. And all officers of Parliament who have worked in other departments, those who have made it to members of parliament, I want to say that everybody has a chance in life to be a leader of this country, and Ms. Anne Wambui Njoroge is a great person. She's a great woman, and I'll forever be grateful to her as a person whom she mentored into the great member of parliament I believe I am today, Mr. Speaker. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The second and last tribute to Ms. Njoroge is from Owen Bayer, who represents the constituency where she came from before she came here.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, I rise today to salute a distinguished public officer, Mrs. Anne Wambui Njoroge, who has recently retired from her position as the Director of Hansard and Audio Services in the National Assembly. Mrs. Njoroge's journey in the public service began on October 7th, 1991, when she was first appointed as a Hansard Reporter 2 in the Hansard Department. Her dedication and commitment saw her rise through the ranks until she was promoted to the position of Director, Hansard and Audio Services in the National Assembly, the position she recently retired from. Mrs. Njoroge has been an integral part of the Hansard Department and of the National Assembly, contributing to the accurate and comprehensive recording of parliamentary proceedings. Her meticulous attention to detail and commitment to excellence have ensured that the Hansard reports remain a reliable and valuable resource for members of parliament, researchers, and the public. Honorable Speaker, before joining public service, Mrs. Njoroge served as a teacher at Kwale Boys High School, where she taught many students, including Mike Mbuvi Sonko, former Makadara MP and second Nairobi County Governor and first Senator of Nairobi County in Form 2 in 1990. Honorable Speaker, Mrs. Njoroge's tenure has seen her work alongside many prominent figures in Kenyan politics, including the late President, His Excellency President Mwai Kibaki, the late Honorable Michael Wamalwa, the late Honorable Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the late George Anyona, the late Honorable Martin Shikuku, the late Honorable Henry Nthenge, the late Honorable Kenneth Njindo Matiba, the late Honorable Jeremiah Nyaga and his sons, the Honorable Norman Nyaga and the late Joe Nyaga, the late Honorable David Mwenje, the late Honorable William Olen Timama, and the late Honorable Bonaya Godana, to mention but a few. I'm also told that she taught the Honorable Mashetani, the former MP for Lungalunga. She recalls memorable events, Mrs. Njoroge, such as one, members' induction in 2013, where she presented on parliamentary privileges and gave the example of Honorable George Nyanja, the former MP for Limuru constituency, who jumped the fence along Uhuru Highway in the 1990s to avoid being arrested. She also recalls the firm chairmanship of the late Honorable Anyona as the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, and the late Jaramogi and the late Kijana Wamalwa as their chairpersons of the Public Investments Committee. The Honorable Anyona was also our firm deputy speaker. Honorable Speaker, Mrs. Anne Wambui Njoroge's contribution to the Hansard Department at the National Assembly has left a lasting legacy. Her unwavering dedication and professionalism have set a high standard for all who follow in her footsteps. As we recognize her invaluable service, let us extend our heartfelt gratitude and best wishes for her future endeavors. Honorable Speaker, please join me in recognizing and celebrating on a remarkable career of Mrs. Anne Wambui Njoroge. Honorable Speaker, I would like to salute and I give you the greetings of the Leader of the Majority, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, can we have a foot thumping for Mrs. Njoroge?